Good morning, folks. Good morning, folks. Good morning, folks. Anyone that is whatever time of day it is when you're tuning in, let me make sure we're good on all the platforms here. Facebook, what's happening? Facebook, what's happening? Yep, we're good on Facebook. See what the phone good on all the Facebook, what's happening? Facebook, we're good. LinkedIn, let's do it. LinkedIn, let's do it. Let's make sure we're good on LinkedIn. Check 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Let me just repost it. We're good to go. All right, let me just check YouTube and we'll get things started. We'll get it going. We'll get it going. We'll get it going. Check 1 2. All right, we are all good. You see what the topic is today. Let's get into this. Let's get into this. Let's get into it. Let's get into what we're going to be diving into. Wait, one more thing I got to do here. One more thing I got to do. Let me just get these straight real quick. All right, let me just get the banner situated. That banner. All right, we're good to go. We are good to go. All right, so here we are. Another Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs. Between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, and over here in the Move Swiftly world, really football heavy content. Actually, before we even get started on today's topic, let me introduce myself to any newcomers and anybody that's new into this world. My name, as one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author, an educator, and what I do, what I talk about, the business that I created, everything that I'm all about, these plus LYs, the plus LY pencils that you see on the screen, the plus LY pencils that you see on my shirt. It stands for Move Swiftly, and what it's all about. It's taking the lessons that I've learned from the football field and aligning them to businesses and business owners. So you have a group of employees, you have a staff, you have an organization that moves very much like a championship high school or youth football team, like equivalent, like exactly, like parallel to the hunger, the eagerness, the desire, the desire that you see in those young kids' faces when you see it. If you've ever been around, if anyone that's ever been there and done that, if you've ever been around championship level, championship mentality, high school or youth level, I'm not talking college and pros, because again, there's a lot of politics, there's money involved on those stages. So we're talking youth and high school championship type teams. If you've been around that kind of energy, you know what I'm talking about, and you want your business running just like that. So this is what I teach. That's what I teach. That's how I am able to translate that feeling and align it with the feelings that you are trying to get in your business. And before we get started on today's topic, let me just get through a couple of announcements here, and we are going to take you on a great journey today about what it being a wintrapreneur is all about. Again, if you have not heard the term wintrapreneur, that's because you have not been listening to me long enough. Every single Wednesday since this summer, I believe it was. Yeah, we've been doing it since summer. If I'm recording this early 2025. So since the summer of 2024, I've been pushing the term wintrepreneur. That's actually why I might have stumbled on the intro a little bit there, because the sixth book number 6, is going to be all about being a wintrepreneur, because there's nobody out there talking about it or knowing about it, because I am the one and only person that coined it. I created the phrase, so you can't take it, you can't steal it. It's all mine now. So before we get started on today's wintrepreneur journey, like we do every single Wednesday, let me just get through a couple of announcements here. First things first, West Palm Beach, Florida. What's up? If you're interested, you see it right, free boxing lessons. Just hit that QR code, if you're interested, and let me know, and we will get you all squared away with that. Next thing, business owners, again, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you create a very, very cohesive unit within your organization. So what I've done is if you go to freeguide.makeitmove.com, created 10 steps, 10 bullet points, 10 easy to adopt things in which you can use right now as we speak, to make it so your business is running a whole lot more efficiently. And not to say it's going to solve all your problems, but it's going to at least get you moving in the right direction in regards to getting folks to really buy into what you're doing. And finally, Patreon. Tap into the Patreon link, patreon.com/as144. We are a couple days away now from the first month being over in 2025. And just better believe this community, this portion of it is where you're going to have exclusive access to not only me, but other business owners as well. So you guys can really facilitate ideas, and we can grow this thing and make it all worthwhile. All right. So as far as today, we're going to dive in to what it means to be a wintrepreneur. And I'm going to be using Coach Andy Reid as an example. However, I am the ultimate wintrepreneur. I am the person now who has left a digital footprint. And it feels so great to say that, because for the longest time, I really didn't know how to use the internet. I really wasn't a person that knew at all what I was doing. With you, to be 100% honest with you, I had no idea what I was doing, how it worked. I came up in a time where my college years were spent where Facebook was something that you actually had to go. You didn't have to do this. You could have had it on your phone, but that really wasn't what people were doing. We weren't walking around with smartphones and checking stuff and doing all that and having our day to day. When you wanted to check something on social media, you got on your laptop and you checked it, and then you just went about your day. There was text messages and stuff like that, but it wasn't all over all day, and smartphones and stuff like that weren't as popular. So as it became time for me to become a businessman and start to run my own company and build my own brand and stuff like that, I was like behind the 8 ball when it comes to just putting stuff out there online and making sure I'm consistent with posting stuff and recording, regardless of just put it out there, because you never know how it's going to age. You never know what's going to get said, this, that, and the third, right? So it was about 2 years ago where I really nailed it. I was able to come on and figure out how I'm going to introduce myself. I figured out a way of reintroducing myself to people day in and day out. So now, 2 years later, probably a little longer than 2 years now, if you were to look up Move Swiftly Thought, in fact, I'll do it with you guys. If you were to look up right now, let's do it together. Now that I've learned, it's one of the things I actually learned how to do. So let's do it. Let's do it together. I'm going to pull it up on the screen right now. If you were to look up Daily Move Swiftly Thought, let's see what comes up. Bang. Your boy comes up number 1. Daily Move Swiftly Thought. Everything. As one Crookshank. Everything. I didn't even Google my name, folks. Daily Move Swiftly Thought. You come up, you see the first hit, and it's been that many. Daily Move Swiftly Thoughts. All right. And it's all over. It's a phrase. Again, you see the companies, and this is my first time seeing it myself. So the companies that win, the ones that really win, are the ones that are the ones that sound more like a verb and not a noun. So I was able to come up with that idea about 2 years ago, and I've been doing it every single day, barring maybe some vacations here or there where I'm traveling or what this, that, and the third, where I may not be able to record or might not be in a position to record. But for the most part, there's a reason that there's over 1,000, over 1,100 now daily Move Swiftly thoughts. And you were to Google the phrase, boom, you would see, obviously, I just did it with you. I'm not bringing that up just to impress you guys, but I'm doing it to impress upon you today as we discuss what a wintrapreneur, being a wintrapreneur, is all about. We're going to be using the example of Andy Reid. And again, I'm going to be using myself as an example because 2 years ago, right now, we're recording this. Let me just set the scene before we get through some of these videos here. Is 2 years ago, we had the same matchup that we have now in the Super Bowl. All right, we have the Kansas City Chiefs looking to three-peat against the Philadelphia Eagles, who, again, myself as a Commanders fan, I'm still shaking off, still recovering from that ass kicking that the Philadelphia Eagles handed us a couple of days ago. But at the same time, I'm a person that knows the game and studies the game and loves the game. And when I see somebody like an Andy Reid, taking his new team to the Super Bowl, going against his old team where he really built his legacy and built what he's all about, that right there is exactly what I'm talking about when we're talking about what being a wintrapreneur is. It's about taking your overall vision, what you want to do in your business, what exactly it is you're dreaming up for yourself, and aligning your goals with a company that's paying you every 2 weeks, and you being the missing piece, you being the reason that a company is going to succeed. When you look at his career path, when you look at his trajectory, when you look at everything he's done, this embodies the Move Swiftly movement. Before actually, you know what? I'm going to play you two clips. I'm going to play you two clips first. These are of me doing the daily Move Swiftly thought. And this was 2 years ago. When I first started talking about what was the conversation? The conversation was more so about Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, the conversation was about, is Eric Bieniemy, why does he not have a head coaching position or something like that? And I came on and I explained to you guys, the reason that the Kansas City Chiefs have had so much success, the reason that Pat Mahomes has had so much success is because Andy Reid has a system in which you see the coaches underneath him thriving. So I'm going to play you this clip, and I'm going to play you another longer video. And the longer video is actually the first time I'm watching it in about 2 years since it came out. So I'll react to it. I'll be reacting to it the same time as you guys. So let me just get this played here.
Example. Just yesterday, Sean McDermott, a coach in which he had underneath him when he was in Philadelphia, and now he's going against another coach that he coached, Harbaugh, for the Baltimore Ravens. Both of these coaches coach under Andy Reid's system.
This was last year.
So regardless if his coach Andy Reid actually gets the win, it doesn't matter. He actually gets the win. I mean, that is, if he gets the win on the field, he's still winning. He's still winning because people that he has brought in, the people that he has nurtured and mentored and got into the game and taught how to run his system, they are competing for championships year in and year out. And these are the things that I want to talk to you guys. These are the things that you guys have to understand. These are the things you have to extract and pull from the game. Is how can I create a system? How can I create a system to where the people underneath me are taking my system and expanding it and growing it and building things and going and building their own organizations. All right. There was next article that I got out.
That was actually last year. So that was last year. And the crazy part is I'm rewatching it. It's crazy. It's crazy how long I've been doing this at this point. But those same coaches that I showed, Sean McDermott and Coach Harbaugh, the Chiefs. So the first one, this year, they were right in the same. They were in the same situation. So the Bills actually beat Baltimore the week before, and then this year again, Kansas City beats Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl. So it was the same three coaches that were in it last year, and that's how you know. See, one of the things about the NFL and what you got to understand, and then when you talk about how you can take the game of football and really think about what you can apply to your business, is what you do in 1 year doesn't mean shit. What you do in 1 year does not mean a damn thing. everything is going to be about how are you building for the future. So you have to ask yourself, if I was to leave my company today, if I was to leave my business for whatever the reason may be, do I have people in place that will be able to run it the same way and be able to build it? So this was, I believe it was the 400 right now. So this is so crazy to look about. Like, I'm looking at it now. This is Move Swiftly Thought 401. Today I recorded 1,100. Which number did I record today? No. It was, just uploaded 1,151, and this is 401. So let me let this play, because this is the first time I'm seeing it in about 2 years. So let me let this one play.
On today's thought, can we please just give Mr. that you will not get anywhere else? Before I even get started on today's thought, can we please just give Mr. Coach Andy Reid his props? My goodness, for you to go back to another Super Bowl, taking on the team that fired you a few years ago, and come back after winning a Super Bowl with your new team, and then come back to your second Super Bowl and then play against a team that let you go. That tells you something about his system. That tells you something about his system, his philosophy, and it translates so well. It translates so well into the business world. Wow. It translates so well into the corporate world, into the working world, understanding that things move by a system. Establish a solid system, and you can never get fired. You can never get fired. You just switch locations. When you establish a system, when you establish a solid system, no one can ever fire you. You just simply switch locations and now you can start to dictate. You can start to look for places in which you're appreciated. Go do the research. Andy Reid, all right, is a former offensive line and strength and conditioning coach. And if you watched the two games yesterday, the reason the San Francisco 49ers lost the game is because they couldn't keep their quarterback protected. They couldn't block. Wow. They could not stop the pass rush. And in turn, the reason that
I got to pause myself on that point, because this is coming back. This is my first time seeing this in 2 years. If you can recall, and this is why it's so important, guys, to leave digital footprints in today's world. Make sure you're keeping receipts. Make sure you're going and documenting certain things as they happen, because again, as they age, you never know how they're going to age. You can put something out now and it creates an opportunity for you 10 years from now. Go back and look at the game. Remember the game that they beat the San Francisco the Philly game. Then they beat the San Francisco 49ers. Remember, they couldn't keep the guy protected. I think it was Louis Riddick. There was a pass rush that Philly was on that just absolutely just overwhelmed them, and they couldn't keep the guy protected, and they ended up beating San Francisco to go to that Super Bowl. It's all coming back now. All right, good.
The Bengals lost the game is because, listen, Joe Burrow had his opportunities to win it, but they couldn't keep him protected. You can't throw passes when he's laying on his back. You can't throw passes when he's getting knocked up inside his head. All right, so it's very important that you establish a system. And in regards to, the system that you need to focus on, I want to give you guys a very just prime example. Front team. If you know the acronym SWIFTly, skilled, well-informed front team.
I'm going to talk about that later.
Front team workers have to be a priority. All right, the front team workers are the offensive linemen, the defensive linemen, that crew of people that you don't necessarily give a shit about unless they're holding or unless they're sacked. Like, you don't understand. They don't make the money that a Tyreek Hill makes, right? They don't make the money that a Patrick Mahomes makes because they don't get the notoriety and all that kind of stuff. But filling up those front team workers is what's going to give yourself a chance every single day. Since I just because I brought him up, but look at here's another prime example. Tyreek Hill left the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Same number 10, and then the Kansas City Chiefs brought in another Tyreek Hill type talent. In many ways, in certain situations, he's almost looks like he's better than Tyreek Hill, right? I know he's a whole lot cheaper. Same guy in New Jersey, had just the same effect that Tyreek Hill had. However, the Miami Dolphins are paying him
I couldn't remember
way
his
more
name.
like just a ridiculously more amount of money. However, you see the effect on the game is virtually the same. It's not that big of a difference when it comes to this new number 10. I believe his name is Pancho or something like that, versus the Tyreek Hill that's making hundreds of millions of dollars. So who really won in that trade, right? So it's all about, and this, I know a lot of football coaches and a lot of business folks really keep up with my work. I want you guys to understand, as you're going out and doing your day-to-day, if you want to have that Andy Reid effect to where you have that system, that excellent system that you can put whoever it is. And that, even another example, like if you really think about it, last week when Patrick Mahomes got hurt, Chad Henne stepped in and he scored a touchdown. He drove the team down for a touchdown.
Wow.
It's all about your system. It's all about your system. So I strongly recommend, whether you're in business or whether you're in football and you're listening to me right now, figure out who your front team workers are, those frontline workers, those workers that, you don't really, that don't really get the notoriety that they deserve. However, they're so very important to the overall whole of the organization, right? I'd strongly recommend you figure out those front team workers, shore up that front team work, and then you'll start to see your system come to play and just give yourself an opportunity every single year. It's absolutely crazy. I'm picking, because of that, I got as much as I like Jalen Hurts, I got to pick the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. Especially since I grew up a Redskins fan and I got an opportunity to watch Andy Reid dominate the NFC East for my entire childhood. I mean, listen, again, that system, it's all about the systems, guys. It's all about the systems. Think about your system, especially up front. I mean, as a former offensive lineman, I've had so many great O-line coaches. I don't even have time to talk about them all right now. But I was watching, I'm like, man, you see? That's this game. They can't, the dudes ain't taking their steps. You got 4 quarterbacks coming in. You got a quarterback in who can't even throw because his elbow's too fucked up because the pass rush was just too strong.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man, it comes through every single game. And that's what's beautiful about this game, man. The game is pure. The game is always right. It's like they said, my man Denzel said in Remember the Titans, it's like the game, man. The game is always right. Win, loss, I mean, it's just always right. It always happens the way it's supposed to happen. If we're being honest, the Cincinnati and Kansas City Chief game, I believe Kansas City should have blown them out. If you really think about it, Joe Burrow only had 2 or 3 long, it was like big plays. There was never really a drive in which the Cincinnati Bengals just dominated them and took the ball down and scored. It was the big play to, I believe, 83, Higgins. It was the big play to Higgins, and then there was another big play to Jamar Chase. So they never really got a chance to dominate the game because they didn't have it up front. For the second year in a row, they didn't have it up front. They just didn't have it up front, all right? If you want to dive deeper into my world, it's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com.
All right. Wow. Yeah, that was kind of a bit nostalgic watching that for me, man, because it's crazy to think about that was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago now I gave that evaluation. And now that I've learned how to use the internet, I'm actually going to be starting this week. I'll be starting a film breakdown session every Saturday. And doing that as a way of pursuing an opportunity to become a play-by-play announcer in college football games this coming fall. And when you look at that particular, you listen to that particular take, you see where my background as a scout, my background as a coach, my background as a person that really just watches the game and breaks the game down, knows how to break the game down. You see where it's pouring out of me. And like I said, I'll listen to it and then post it, but I'm usually on to the next topic the next day. With that particular video, I remember my mother calling me, and she everything she knows about football, she knows because again, I played, and she knows the concepts of it, the bigger picture. But when it comes to like the details, the analytical stuff and stuff like that, she obviously isn't as versed. But I remember her calling me maybe that week. Then she was like, yeah, I remember you were talking about that coach Andy Reid, Andy something, and it was just like pouring out of you. Just like, and she told me you need to be one of them dudes that is talking on a play-by-play and going through that analysis and all that. So watching that was a bit nostalgic for me. But anyway, I'm gonna bring up something that I said. I'm gonna re-emphasize it, and then we're gonna go to we're going to go to a video I found that was when Andy Reid first got hired for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you see the tone he set. You see the tone he set because titles did not matter. Right? And this is important for you guys to understand as business owners. You got to get away from titles. You got to get away from titles and more focus on progress, more focus on work, and more focus on what's the foundation going to look like. All right. When I mentioned in the video is the acronym that Swiftly is all about, the acronym that built this entire concept and this entire worldview of Move Swiftly. It's skilled, well-informed, front team, and then the plus LY is lift yourself. All right. So a skilled worker is like a wide receiver, a DB, a running back. These are just absolutely insane athletes, like a Saquon Barkley. All right. Just incredible athlete. You take Saquon Barkley, you put him at receiver, he'll probably be able to make some plays. You put him at safety, he'll be able to, might not be able to backpedal as well, but he'll be able to be athletically inclined enough to be doing some great things as a defensive back. If you put him on the basketball court, I'm sure he's going to be able to do some great things there too. If you just teach him certain things, if you put him on the soccer field, he actually, in fact, if we're speaking on Saquon, he's a former boxer. All right. He is just an unbelievable athlete. Those are the skilled workers. Again, everybody wants to be a skilled worker. Everybody wants to be in a situation where they're getting paid for their natural ability. However, don't forget, the reason that Saquon is with Philly is because I think it was like 2 years in a row where he tore his ACL, and that skill wasn't available to him. All right. So you got to remember that skill wasn't available to him. And when being a skilled worker is great, but it's very possible in the snap of a fingers that the skill isn't available to you, or that the skill could be taken away from you. So let's use it as an example for when I do my workshops. This is how I teach it. I'm giving you kind of a briefing of it now. Let's say that you're a skilled cosmetologist, a skilled plumber, something like that, somebody where you're getting paid based on your trade. God forbid something happens where a finger is broken, or something happens where you have an injury where you can't really stand up. All of a sudden that skill taken from you. Now you don't have anything to really fall back on. So being a skilled worker is great, but more so you should be working towards becoming well-informed. WI, well-informed are the quarterbacks, the position I played, linebacker, tight end, fullbacks type of guys, because it's our responsibility as well-informed people to put the skilled folks in the right position. Like it's the responsibility of a Jalen Hurts to make sure he's facilitating the ball, or whether you want to Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes, it's their responsibility to facilitate the ball to certain players, like whether it's Xavier Worthy or whether it's a Devontae Smith. It's their responsibility to do these things. That's why you see a lot of quarterbacks and linebackers becoming coaches now, because that's what they were about. They are the equivalent to your typical managers, your CEOs, your folks who are responsible for hiring the right people and bringing the right people in. That's well informed. And then you get front team. And that's one of the things that I had mentioned about Andy Reid is your front team workers are the offensive and defensive linemen. These are the folks here that, they are, if let's say I teach at a school, so you guys know. Let's say one of the kids happens to throw up in the middle of the class, right? That's the front team's workers' responsibility to come up here, clean up all the throw up, and be the person that's cleaning up everything and stuff like that. Again, that front team worker is only talked about after something tragic happens, after there's a situation where the foundation is rocky. The same way in the football world, the only time you talk about an offensive lineman, or you even care about an offensive lineman, is when it's a holding call, or they're giving up a sack, or something along those lines. But every single play, every single day, you have got to have that solid foundation. So when you have been struggling, when your business has been struggling, when your team has been struggling, it is so important that you more so look at the people that can build your foundation, that can create a foundation for you, and forget about the titles. All right. Listen, we're going to use the game as an example, and we're going to use, like you see on the screen, we're using Andy Reid as an example. What I'm going to play for you is how the Eagles got it right. because there was a situation when the Eagles were struggling. They were at one point, they were a franchise that was absolutely struggling, and they took a risk in hiring Andy Reid, even though he did not have the title of offensive coordinator. He did. I'm going to say it again. He did not have the title of offensive coordinator. Just like Coach Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens didn't have the title of offensive or defensive coordinator. He was a special teams coach. All right. There was a foundation that they were able to bring that created opportunities. So we're going to go back to Andy Reid's. This is January 11th, 1999. This was his first press conference as the Philadelphia Eagles coach. And listen to how he sets the tone. Listen to how he sets the tone. And then ask yourself, in your business and what you're about and how you operate your business, do you have people coming in that is setting the foundation for something great? Understand, he was the offensive mind behind a lot of those years that the Green Bay Packers were great. This is talking about Brett Favre years when Mike Holmgren was the head coach. Those experiences, you had Coach Mariucci there too. I believe it was also John Gruden was there as well, and he was one of the pieces there that was working with at that point. He had spent years as an offensive line coach. I believe he played at BYU, dealt with some injuries, all that kind of stuff. So I'll let this play and then I'll react to it.
That's history. That part of this is history. Ray Rhodes was a tremendous football coach. That part's history, and now we're going forth. This is the
I'm sorry. I just got to pause it. History. Do you see how you set the tone? When you get brought in, to something new, and it's now your ship. He said that's history. It's time to bring some new energy, and you got to believe. This is, especially in that sports, this is Philadelphia we talking. Right, you gotta come with something with these press conferences, especially it's gonna be your first introduction. All right, you do not get a second chance at a first impression. All right, I'll let it play.
Right now, everybody in here has to understand that, and so we don't get into the Ray Rhodes factor. We're moving on, and now we're into the Andy Reid factor here.
With that said, a new chapter in Eagles history is about to be written. The 40-year-old Reid, who now becomes the second youngest head coach in the NFL, plans to implement a fresh approach.
We have a tremendous plan that we're putting together, and I think it's a very, very workable situation. Winning is your final goal. It's obvious, again, to all of us that we were 3-13. I understand that. You understand that. Now we've got to go forth and get us into a position where we're winning football games.
But why did the Eagles move so quickly in naming Reid their head coach before interviewing the likes of Jacksonville's offensive coordinator Chris Palmer or Minnesota's offensive coordinator Brian Billick? The answer:
he won a Super Bowl with the Ravens.
Reid would join Mike Holmgren in Seattle, and that forced the Eagles' hand.
I think it's certainly a possibility, but when you make up your mind and you like what you see and you know what you want, why wait? You know, the second part of that, obviously, is we wanted Andy as the head coach, but also we have to start building a staff. He has to start building a staff and putting his people in place. There is a lot of work to be done.
When we got together after interviewing Andy Reid and after Willie Shaw's interview, we all looked at each other, and I think it became pretty clear we all had the same reaction after sleeping on it, that this guy had the commanding presence that you need to really turn around a situation that was not heading in the right direction.
Insofar as why you get him now, if you don't get Andy Reid this year, and 63% of this league is turned over in the last 3 years in head coaches, how long do you think he's going to be on the market? He's gone.
And don't think for a moment that because Reid didn't have an offensive coordinator's tag to his name in Green Bay, he's lacking in his knowledge of the offensive game.
Coach Holmgren and Ron Wolf gave me a tremendous amount of responsibility with the Green Bay Packers. My situation was a little different without the coordinator tag and the supervisory tag.
All right, I gotta pause. Let me pause real quick. I'm gonna come back. But when you remove titles, all right, and the reason I have to pause there is because I want to make sure this point hits home. Stop thinking about the titles. All right. Stop chasing titles. When you're an owner, especially as a business owner, I get it. Titles make you feel like you're more legit, like you're hiring someone that is legitimately going to be good on paper and it looks good for, semantics aspects and all that. But the people that you need in your business are good people. They're good at their position. This is why you see being a wintrapreneur is about finding someone that's actually good enough to do the job, regardless of the title. Go back into his history, go back into the archives, go back into what he's all about. You'll see a string of things where there are elements to his game and his football knowledge to where he saw it from this lens. He saw it from the lens of an offensive lineman. Then he saw it from the lens of an offensive line coach. And then he was blessed enough or fortunate enough to be around one of the greatest coaches of all time in Mike Holmgren and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Brett Favre. And in my opinion, if not definitely in the top 5 greatest NFL franchises of all time with the Green Bay Packers, where I have to tell this story because I was just at Duffy's when I was at Duffy's watching the Commanders and Eagles game this past Sunday. There was a lady there who she roots for she described, here's how she described this. So she goes, look, I root for the Commanders because I live in Ashburn, Virginia, but she's actually a Green Bay Packers fan. And she tells me, she goes, I myself am actually one of the shareholders. All right. So this is why I look at the Green Bay Packers and say, like, in terms of ownership, they are like the model. They're exactly the way it should be because they give their fans shares of the team. All right. They give their fans shares of the team. Let's finish off this video and then we'll react to it.
Been placed on me that
let me go back.
I think we're all aware different without the coordinator tag.
Right.
Holmgren and Ron Wolf gave me a tremendous amount of responsibility with the Green Bay Packers. My situation was a little different without the coordinator tag and the supervisory tag having been placed on me. That I think we're all aware that did not allow me to be an offensive coordinator in the National Football League. But on the other end of that, they were able to give me the responsibility that I feel very comfortable making this next step.
So the Eagles now have a head coach. Now the head coach must build a staff. Reid makes it very clear he has a vast list of candidates to choose from.
I have some tremendous candidates that I feel very comfortable with, and I know will get us headed in the right direction. And again, I had a chance to meet with the organization this morning. We're all in this thing together. That's coaches included.
Reid was accompanied by his wife and 5 kids. His wife also felt this was the right place to be at this particular time. Reid must now rebuild a crumbling squad. His ultimate goal to bring a Super Bowl ring to Philadelphia like the one he got in Green Bay.
I think I'm able to give this organization the offense that has won a tremendous amount of rings in the National Football League. And you all in Philadelphia have had a taste of that. And then my organizational skills, I feel, will also benefit the football operations part of this.
And so the Andy Reid era officially
I'm
began.
telling you, man, I've never seen that. I've never seen that. I could see why he was successful in Philly. I know that fan. I know that fan base. I know that. I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, diehard Redskins or Commanders fan. And I mean, I had to watch that guy absolutely put belt to ass to us on so many different occasions. Don't get me wrong. There were times here and there, like this year, where we actually beat Philly, where it was an upset, but there was never, I can't recall a time where we walked in as, Skins fans, that's my team, where we walked in as like, okay, we the favorites. I'm trying to think of a time in which we walked into a game against the Philadelphia Eagles in which it was like, the Redskins are the favorites to win that game. It's never happened. It's never happened. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking back because when I was in college, I had a shout out to the DJ. That was his name, DJ. He's a big Eagles from DC, but from Maryland, but he was actually a big Eagles fan. And I mean, just the constant, just he was a talker. He was one of those talking. And that's what I'm saying. I know these Philly fans, like they just constantly talking. I remember there was one other teammate I had who was a big Philly fan that I didn't even really talk to outside of, I didn't really, talk to like that, in the locker room and things like that. Obviously are on the same team, we say what up, but everybody knew me. Everybody, if you follow me on social media, I'm a Skins fan till I die, burgundy and gold all day. I didn't really talk to him directly like that, like face to face, but I remember there was on my Facebook wall one time where he very, very rarely leaves comments on my wall. Again, we don't communicate like that, but out of nowhere, it was a game against Philly and the Redskins, and on my wall, it's like, we're going to bust the Redskins. He went out of his way. To make sure he told me that the Philadelphia Eagles will tap that Redskin ass. So again, I've been dealing with the whole Andy Reid situation for years because of how many years they were dominating the NFC East, dominating it. And as I was growing in my football knowledge, understand, I'm doing this this is happening. If you look at the date, go back to the date. Let me pull this up real quick. Go back to the date of this. This was 1999. I was in fifth grade. It's in fifth grade when he came to the Eagles. So from fifth grade all the way through college at that point, I'm really taking in the game and I'm learning. My knowledge of it is growing, learning how to break down film, learning how to diagnose plays, learning, certain plays go with certain plays, certain matchups, stuff like that, how to take advantage of it. All this stuff I was learning, and he was the example from fifth grade all the way to now, to where it's still some of the same concepts, some of the same things that he's running with Pat Mahomes, Kelsey, Worthy, and Isaiah Pacheco. Also, he has Hopkins now, and then you give him some Smith-Schuster. With all the things he's doing offensively, I'm looking at it as like same thing he used to do with Shady McCoy, with Michael Vick, with Deshaun Jackson, Brent Selleck, same concepts. And then even when he had McNabb, and I believe it was Brian Westbrook, because he's from Maryland, went to DeMatha. So same exact concept. So even when that conversation and all that stuff was going on with Eric Bieniemy, I knew it was like, look, he got a dude that is dialing it up and has a system to where, again, I'm not trying to take anything from Pat Mahomes. I know a lot of these Pat Mahomes folks get sensitive when we talk like that, but I'm just telling you the God honest truth. That dude knows how to dial it up, and when you give them those kinds of weapons, and you give Pat Mahomes, who has that ability, you have that kind of. I mean, listen, again, as much as I would love to see the Commanders in the big dance, I cannot wait. To watch this Super Bowl, because it's going to be like in football, because you get to watch two offenses that are so dynamic. Not only are the offenses dynamic, but when you look at the two defenses, it truly is, in my opinion, the two best teams going at it. And we're going to see what's going to give. Again, defensively, both teams have great coordinators. In my opinion, Steve Spagnuolo just knows how to really dial it up. He knows how to disguise blitzes, bring guys back, make coverages look like certain things, and really mess your quarterback up. And then you get that Pat Mahomes that knows how to really, extend plays. And then Andy Reid. It's just going to be a great day to love football. It's a great matchup. And again, just like I was telling you when I was talking about the college game, there was no way Ohio State was going to lose, even if they lost on the field, because if they were to lose that game against Notre Dame, you have Marcus Freeman, an Ohio State guy, winning. So they're really not losing, period. It's going to be the same thing in the pros, same thing with the NFL game. Even if the Eagles were to pull off, I believe it would be an upset at this point, but if the Eagles were to pull off an upset against the Kansas City Chiefs, you look at the coach on the other sideline and you say, I built that. I built what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. They have yet to find a coach like me since they let me go. So again, there's going to be no losing for this guy. And with that being said, I'll close you guys out, because when it comes to being a wintrapreneur, when it comes to you winning, and like I was saying in the video that I played previously, is you don't get fired. There's no way a person can fire you, because your mindset, being a wintrapreneur, is all about having a mindset. It's all about having a mindset and a system to where wherever you land, wherever you work, whatever it is whatever the uniform or the logo or whatever it is you are doing now, your system is so intact, your mindset is so intact, your ability is so intact to where they could just take your system, take your beliefs and your philosophies and your ideologies and everything you're about, and take it and just move it somewhere else, and everything will be the same. Are you building your life? Are you building your business? Are you building your worldview in which it's able to do those things? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Okay. You cannot be going out. You can't be going out every single day and asking yourself, what's going to make me the most money? There's two different questions. It's like comparing apples to oranges. All right. There's an unlimited amount of money out there. Trust me. There's money. Listen, money is, I actually have an article out there about this. You guys can look it up for yourself. It's money isn't real. It's not real. The system that you create, are you creating a system in which it's going to make you money regardless of where you are? And because I got news for you, I got breaking news for you all. None of us is going to be here forever. What can stay around forever is a system that you've created, a mindset and a worldview that you created, to where somebody new can take and pick up what it is you've built and what you've created and say, I'm gonna run with this. It could be a family member, it could be whether it's a young son or nephew, son, daughter, or nephew, young child, a student, a spouse. Anybody that comes into your world, a good friend, somebody that is just inspired and moved by your work, that they want to help in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Have you adopted the system that's going to allow you to thrive? That's the question. That's the question. Everything we're talking, everything I said today, and everything I do every single Wednesday. If you go back to last Wednesday, I was speaking about how Mike Vrabel got the position, that head coaching position with the Patriots, and why I believe that was the best hire that he got. I believe that that's the only reason that Gerard Mayo went one and done, is because they wanted Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel's a little more proven. But when it comes to again, what we do over here in the Move Swiftly World on Wednesdays, is we really got to reaffirm and reestablish, do we have a system, and make sure it's something that's working. Here's the thing that I had to learn, and I'll close you out with this concept, because in order for me to have developed the system I had to go pay for a coach. I had to go hire a coach. Shout out to Dre Baldwin. You know, he was one of those coaches that I sought out because I had met him. I think it was like in a clubhouse room and during COVID and all that. But when you look at what Dre Baldwin has, being a former athlete and, you know, serving business owners and entrepreneurs and all that, I went and sought him out as a coach. And I remember a hard conversation he and I had, in which he told me, look, you need to get a better system as one. You need to get a system that's working. You need to get a system in which you are constantly serving your ideal client. You can't worry about the views and the likes and all the stuff you have on. So no. That's vanity metrics. What I took from that conversation, it was actually via text, where you can feel the tone in his text, which was very stern, because that's just the kind of upfront, blunt guy that he is. It's telling me you need to create a system that's more so serving your client every single day. Again, my client, the kind of people I look to work with, are these business owners that want to build strong and cohesive teams. These business owners that have around 20 or more employees, and they want to build a team that, again, is moving very efficiently and has that hunger, has that eagerness to them, because they love their business so much that they want people coming into their business, and they want to teach them how to put them in the right places and all that. Those are my people. Those are the people I look to serve every day. And if you can go look at the track record. In fact, I did it throughout this episode. Everything I've done from that conversation is about serving them. Every single one of them. Every single one of them is going to get value in everything I do. Your typical, freeloader on social media is not going to be they're going to like what I do. Obviously, they'll watch it here and there. But your typical freeloader isn't going to be someone that I look to work with, nor should I want to. You shouldn't want to. And that's another thing about creating systems. All right. When you dive in and you really align yourself with your avatar and align yourself with the people that you look to serve, you really won't give a shit about the folks who don't listen to you or ignore you or have this and that to say, want to troll you online. You won't give a shit. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty, the best part of it. It's having your system, being a winter. The best part about being a wintrapreneur is really allowing yourself and accepting the fact that, look, you don't have something that's for everybody, but nobody has something that's for everybody. And you shouldn't want to have something that's for everybody. You should want to have something that's for the specific group of people that you want to serve, and simply serve them day in and day out. That's all I got to say. Now, I'll close you out with that, just that concept, and allow that to sit and allow that to rest. So all that being said, let me put up the Patreon link one more time to get more into my world, to dive deeper into my world. And, as I'm telling you, man, 2025, we're taking off. We're going to new heights, new incredible heights. It's patreon.com/as144, main website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing. It's makeyamove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.